And now our next session at GSS 2025, we have ESG capital flows, building bridges between emerging markets and global investors. To talk to us about that, Mr. Rishi Harani, the founder Mergify USA. So please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Mr. Rishi Harani, the founder of Mergify USA, a visionary leader building bridges between emerging markets and global investors through responsible capital and innovation. Mr. Rishi Harani.
Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Sure.
Thank you, Ashwati, for inviting. Thank you to GSS. It's an honor to be here. Although it's a pleasure to be in London, as always. However, I do miss my sunny Texas. I've started living in Texas recently. It's been about 6 months. Do miss the weather, but it's always a pleasure to be in London. So ESG, it's all about environmental social governance. However, what does ESG exactly mean for startups? So this evening, all these lovely keynote speakers have spoken about large companies, major companies. We've spoken about billions, millions, big numbers. But what is ESG for small players? Small players from emerging markets. That's the key question I want you to ask. What about the players from India, Nigeria, South Africa, even in the UK, Ireland, anywhere, Indonesia? I've lived in Indonesia, worked in the fintech sector. I've lived in Vietnam. I've lived in China for a good part of nearly 5 years. ESG is a huge player. So what does this ESG do for startups? How do you lower your cost of capital? So what we do at Mergify is, it was originally a company incorporated in the UK, expanded my company, got married, moved to the USA, because the wife wanted to move to the USA. But that's what you do. Happy wife, happy life. Therefore, working at Mergify, I work on cross-border deals that connect emerging market founders with global investors. Capital is flowing, ladies and gentlemen. There's plenty of capital. If someone says that there's not enough capital, maybe they don't know how to access it. All the major funds, institutional investors, pension funds, insurers, LPs are mandated to invest in sustainable assets. Emerging markets have the growth and real impact stories in energy, food, mobility, fintech, but they lack governance. This is where we bridge the gap at Mergify, bridging the governance. It's all about connecting people, it's connecting the dots. Lots of myths when it comes to deal flow from ESG perspective. People believe that impact investing is lower returns. Not necessarily. The risk-adjusted alpha is real. It's all about timing, as always, as in anything else. Development finance institutions move too slow, that's what people say. It's all about timing, as I mentioned. Align early, you will unlock catalytic growth. Reporting is a cost, not necessarily. It lowers your cost of capital because it builds investor trust. What do we do at Mergify? We handle the tough stuff, which is structuring, governance, and market entry. As I mentioned, I work with founders. Just spoke to a founder in Nigeria this morning, in Abuja. I was actually in Abuja nearly 2 years ago as a keynote speaker at one of the conferences, and I met this lovely founder. What she does is she recycles tires into bricks for playgrounds and school grounds. On average, we recycle, or we actually dispose of 1 billion tires. Dispose of 1 billion tires annually across the globe. 1 billion tires. That's a lot of tires. At least someone's taken the initiative at a smaller level to recycle that in Nigeria. What's my role there? To get that capital from Western and developed markets into that country, into that economy, into that company to be able to grow. This is ESG. So it's all about clearing problems and creating solid unit economics. It's all about AML, KYC compliance. It's all about, if you get these right, investors start seeing you as bankable, not risky. This is my role at Mergify, to help those founders attract those investors. Use blended finance. A lot of these companies don't necessarily know, because if someone's recycling tires, they wouldn't necessarily understand finance. This is where I come in to use blended finance, linking loans where interest margins are linked to the KPIs. It's all about structure, holding companies, SPVs, local currency revenues, which protect from foreign exchange reserves, shocks. So one particular company that I worked with in the past, nearly 3 years ago, was a company from India that was a value-added dairy production company, manufacturing paneer, if all Indians would know in this room, manufacturing milk, yogurt, and all that. They struggled with cash burn and informal sourcing. What we did at Mergify was introduce farmer contracts, traceability, and ESG verified KPIs that opened the door for ESG credit lines and retail expansion. Disciplined turned into local impact, into investable growth. For founders, it's all about fixing your governance. For investors, it's all about pricing your real risk. For policymakers, it's about reducing the friction between customs and codes. Emerging markets have the growth, investors have the mandates, governance is the bridge, and that's my role here to connect capital and impact. Thanks so much for your time.